Hey guys, how's it going? This is the Bald Metal Nerd coming at you with another video, and you're probably asking yourself, why in the hell is he standing in a basement with some random equipment? I promise I will eventually talk about music, but basically what this relates around, this part of the video anyway, is my side business. I'm going to be talking about that and a bit about a project that I did, so this will all make sense eventually, I promise. So anyway, starting off here, some work I did. This is all for the same customer, by the way. Okay, we're starting here with a large Dell equivalent of an iMac. It's an all-in-one. What the issue was with this is owned by an older gentleman, my customer's father. His grandkid put a password on this computer, and, well, the grandkid, I guess, forgot what the password was, all that. So, you know, lots of issues. It's a Windows 8 machine with UEFI instead of a BIOS. So, unlocking it was a bit of a challenge, but I did manage to Google around and figure out how to unlock this thing. So that netted me 25 bucks, but this thing was still on Windows 8, and of course there was junk on it, naturally. So I said, hey, you know, I'll upgrade this thing to Windows 10 and, you know, get rid of the junk, put a password on it so your grandkid can't lock you out again, etc. All that for $75, and so he opted to that. So just doing those simple things netted me $75 on this machine. Of course, I was able to do it in my own time, since obviously I'm at my house. So there you go. That's one thing that I worked on. Another thing that I worked on, I know I'm showing you a flash drive, and you're like, why is he showing a flash drive? Well, this same customer brought me a desktop, which I have since thrown away. The desktop, basically, he told me it wasn't working, and, you know, I opened the case, and the fan had fallen off of the CPU because somehow the bracket that holds the cooling fan in place had actually broken off. No idea how that happened. The machine was really, really old. It was a Windows Vista era, I believe, machine. And I just told him it would cost way more than what it was worth to fix it, you know, and he told me just to toss the thing. So I did. But this little bad boy here, I did some data recovery for him, okay? So, now, keep in mind that this was actually a Linux machine I had worked on for this customer. This is a repeat customer that I worked on earlier for him. So basically, you could only read the disks properly with another Linux machine, which I happen to have, which I will be getting to in the next part of the video. You know, so basically I charged him $25 for the data recovery and $10, and yes, I am making a little bit of a profit on this flash drive. So there you go. That's another $35. And since his desktop died, I just happened to have, look at this. I got an old Dell desktop here. I don't know how well you can see it in the video. I know it's kind of dark. I'm trying to shine a light on it. Just an old Dell desktop, 2 gigs of RAM, etc., etc. I sold it to him for the whopping price of 40 bucks. Okay? I'm not going to charge big money for this because it's not worth a whole lot anymore. So, you know, that was 40 bucks for that. And, yeah, that pretty much wraps it up. So anyway, grand total I made on this job altogether is $150. That's not bad. Now, there are a couple old laptops here. I looked at those. He told me not to do anything to them. I don't blame him. Those are really old laptops. Whatever. But I made $150 for, I don't know, maybe 4 hours of work, which is definitely better than even, I have a pretty good hourly wage at my job, but that is a bit better than what I make at my job, because at my job I'm about 27 an hour, so yeah, that's still better than what I make at my regular job. So anyway, that's it for this part of the video. I'm now gonna, oh wait, gotta talk about my project a little bit, so please excuse the mess here in the basement. I really need to clean up down here. Just going to show you guys here what prompted all this. Okay, actually, let me show you on the ceiling. Obviously, guys, you see a coax wire there. That's actually from my satellite.
But I had another one running along there for my cable internet, okay? And the cable internet went up into that hole there, basically. Now, what the issue with that was, I had my NAS device and all sorts of other things up there, and I had some, what I would call bad Wi-Fi performance. And it was just bugging me having the stuff away from my main machine. So I decided to move the internet connection down here. Now, let me show you kind of where that went. I know this is exciting looking at a ceiling, huh? Ooh, we're getting into the spooky part of the basement here. Let's go ahead and turn on a light real quick. Okay. Ow, just kicked the ladder. So anyway, this is now the cable internet, right? And basically, move this out of the way. It goes in right there, right? So I had to move the internet connection, basically. And that was a bit of an issue for me because the hole that they had drilled was so small, I couldn't even get the cable out with the head on it. Now, I didn't have really any experience with recabling coax. I learned, though, that all you really have to do is cut off the head and then you can put a new head on, etc., etc. I know it's not technically called the head. We'll call it the connector, whatever. Yeah, I learned that the hard way, but, you know, we'll get to that here in a few. So anyway, I am actually going to pause right here real quick and go into the room and show you a little bit more of this project. Be right back, guys, in a second. Okay, guys, here I am at the termination point, you know, which basically goes into what I call, you know, affectionately my home network infrastructure, right? Now, I know I showed this desk off in a previous video, but I feel, hey, you know, why not talk about it a little bit more since I made a bunch of changes. Anyway, let's go ahead here. That box there that's, you know, blue and lit up, that is, of course, my cable modem. So that is where my coax cable went in, you know, that I put the new connector on it. Boom. There it is. Now, here's the thing about that. It actually took me many attempts to get it right because I had never, you know, done it before. It was a new experience for me. And it was a learning experience. It took me 3 trips to go out. I had to go to Radio Shack twice and get different connectors. And I had to go get, excuse me, some wire strippers and cutters that would actually do the job right. But I did manage to pull it off, so yay me. I actually tested it out there in the base before I brought this thing in and hooked up all the other equipment. I actually called Comcast and asked them to make sure my modem was on before, and they said it was. So I brought it in here, hooked everything up, and everything works, which is really the main point. So now this here is my NAS device. It's got RAID built into it. It's got 2 disks. 3 terabytes each, so it's not a now if I turned RAID off it would be 6 terabytes, but since I have RAID, obviously it's just 3 terabytes. So there you go. Now over here I got my router, and I have to say this is a really good router, and by that I mean the wireless output on this thing is really strong. Even though we're here in the basement, it has excellent coverage upstairs in the house. I mean, it works everywhere in the house just fine. Really good performance that way. But really where I got frustrated on the performance was interfacing with the NAS device. The, you know, copying files to it and all that was just so damn slow over Wi-Fi, and if the internet was saturated sometimes, even retrieving files from that thing was, you know, it's just... Yeah, if you're a power user nerd like me, it's not going to be optimal. Anyway, over here, you can kind of see it. There's a little flashing. That is my Magic Jack, which I use, of course, as a home phone. Basically, it is useful because cell coverage here is
decent, but Magic Jack does work even better than a cell. So anyway, it's only 30 some bucks a year, really, so what? There is some hunches of cable clutter, but you can't see it because it's behind the monitor and stuff, so who cares, right? Anyway, moving on. This is my secondary NAS. Okay, it's an old one. I think it's only like 300 gigs. I only use this to store disk images on, nothing else. That's it. And if it dies, there's no real critical date on it, so whatever. It's just there. You know, it's not turned on now, but whatever. Here is how I, did the data recovery. Okay. I got a nice hard drive dock where you can obviously load 2 SATA drives. It'll do the full size 3.5, and of course you can also put the 2.5-inch drives in there too. So really any SATA drive, full size, or SSD or laptop drive will go in there just fine. This here is basically just a little charging port for my Dell laptop. Obviously you just plug that in, monitor, nothing exciting. Now, I will go down here and show, oh, I almost forgot an important part here. Got a switch, which basically this has to be on for the PC in here to have internet access, and any additional PCs I decide to hook up for my side business. I basically have right here, this cable is for laptops that I decide to put on my desk. I need to pause real quick, guys. I'll be right back. Okay, guys, back to it here. Anyway, last thing I showed off here was, and this is real hard to angle the camera and try to get a light in a good spot. Basically, there is, you can even see this, right? Come on. Okay, that's a lot better. There is, obviously, that blue cable there is for any laptops that I decide to hook up. There are 2 cables snaking down. One runs into the PC I'm about to show off. The other one is a spare. So anyway, let's go ahead and go to the bottom of this cabinet here. Oh man, it's so much fun getting down on the floor, right? Anyway, here we go. Here are the cables that run down. Obviously, we got Ethernet there. We got standard power cable, DVI, and VGA for hooking up any desktop. We've actually got, I have so many devices in here. It necessitated, here is surge protector number 1. It actually necessitated a second surge protector. Now, you may or may not be able to hear a high-pitched whine in the video. What's actually caused by that, or causing that, is this power brick right here that's actually for my secondary switch. I don't have to have my switch on all the time because it only, is hooked up to basically this PC here, which is not my main PC, and the secondary NAS device, and or any devices I want to use for, what's the word I'm looking for my side business. So let's just go ahead and switch that off. Then the humming will stop. I tried this in the other surge protector, still made the same noise. So I know it's not the surge protector, it's just this damn power brick does that. And if you're far away from it, you can't hear it anyway. And for all you audiophiles out there, of course, this is on a totally different surge protector than my than what my NAS device is, which holds my music files. So electrical noise, there's not going to be any introduced because of this thing. So anyway, because I know all the voodoo about cables and noise and stuff out there, and you audiophiles watching this, you might be like, oh my god, what is this guy crazy? Anyway, well, I'm probably not a true audiophile anyway. Anyway, as far as my cable management efforts, basically, it's pretty dire, but, this is not really something you can see. The best that I've done, I've just used, obviously, some ties there to kind of tie the cables together as best as I can, so they're a little less ungangly, but they're all there. Anyway, here is my secondary PC that I use basically for a number of things.
It has XP and 7 on it to run older games, and I triple boot it with Ubuntu Linux so I can have one Linux machine. You know, since I promote Linux a lot in my side business, I do at least have to walk the walk a little bit, plus it makes it handy for data recovery out of Linux. Anyway, Alright guys, here is some aftermath of some wiring here that I've got to clean up some. It is a gigantic mess, as you can see. And there is one side note I'd like to interject here, so bear with me guys. Ow! Getting into position is just so much fun for this. Sorry if I'm giving you guys, you know, some sort of bad trip with the camera or whatever, right? Now let me ask you something. If you guys, I just gotta hear, if you guys have ever, you know, kind of laid on the floor and kind of gotten a view like this. I know I have multiple times. Good stuff. Just laying down, looking straight up at a whole gaggle of wires everywhere you look. So anyway, I just had to put this in here. What I'm gonna do now is obviously I'm gonna stop recording here. I am gonna group these wires together as much as I can, given the limitations, and I'm gonna try to clean up the look of this a little bit. So I'm gonna stop right here, get cleaning up, and come back and kind of show you guys the final results of what I'm doing. See you in a little bit, guys. Okay, guys, here I am with the final part of my video where I'm going to show off kind of my new desk setup with the, you know, after I moved everything. This here is the phone that's hooked into my Magic Jack. From... Obviously, the wires are just running from that desk over there to this desk over here. Now, you're probably thinking, why on earth does he have just a regular old-school style phone on a cord? Well, there's a little more to this phone than that. Me getting close here. As you can see, there's an antenna right there, because this actually is, in addition to just being a regular phone, it's a base station for 3 wireless headsets throughout the rest of the house, and I get good coverage. So this is, in my opinion, a pretty great phone, and it suits my needs well. It has all sorts of features on it. It's nice to have. It's good in-house intercom, nice phone, 3 headsets upstairs, you know, related to this phone. So, oops, just moving my stuff around. That's that phone. So, from the Magic Jack, and I just rearranged my desk some. Buried underneath these checkbooks here. Let me get those out of the way. There's my DAC / headphone amp, my Audio Engine D1. Moving over here, we've got my external, you know, DVD burner. We got the USB hub on top of it, USB 3. Which of course was sitting here before. And and my main point of doing this, let's see if the camera will focus. As you can see, I now have a wired, not a Wi-Fi connection. Wonderful 1 gigabit local network access. Hooray. That is a wonderful, wonderful thing. There you go. That's that. So, moving on up, I'm going to actually talk about music a little bit. One thing that I did while I was working on my project is I listened to a bunch of music on CD, because, you know, why not, right? I was near the stereo, certainly I just had to turn it up a bit, and I could very easily hear the music. And I just put a bunch of CDs, you know, these are just a selection of the albums that I was listening to while I was doing all this stuff, and I find it pretty satisfying just to put, you know, like 5 CDs in this changer and just let them play, because even though it's not totally random, there is some randomness to it, you know, and it's, you know, I'm an album guy, so I like to listen to 5 random albums in a row. I know, a little bit strange. Anyway,
I guess that's pretty much going to wrap it up. I'm really pleased with this setup now. I think it's going to perform extremely well for me. If you did like what you see, as always, please thumbs up, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys next time.